बिस्मिल्लाहिर्रहमानिर्रहीम। रब्बि इश्रह ली सदरी व यस्सिर ली अमरी वहलुल उक़दतम मिन लिसानी यफ़क़हू क़ौली। Today I want to share with you a great story. It's about one of the greatest women who ever walked on this planet. She is Maryam, Mary, peace be upon her. Maryam's father was Imran and her mother was Hannah bint Faqud. In Christian history, she is known as Annie or Saint Annie. Imran was the brother of Prophet Zakaria alayhi salam. And Surah Al Imran, chapter number 3, is named after his family, the family of Imran, Al Imran. So the family of Maryam belonged to a lineage of prophets, starting from Ibrahim alayhi salam to Ishaq to Yaqub to Yusuf to Musa, Aaron and David and Suleiman and Ilyas and Zakaria and Yahya and Isa alayhim assalam. So you can see that how noble and how righteous, pious family of the prophets Maryam belonged to. Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam once said that 4 women have perfected their iman, have perfected their faith, and Maryam was one of them. And the others are Asiya, the wife of Pharaoh, and Khadija radiallahu anha, and Fatima radiallahu anha. So Mary is undoubtedly one of the greatest women of all time. And in Surah Al Imran, her birth is mentioned. The Quran says, Hannah, the wife of Imran, said, Iz qalat imratu Imran, Rabbi inni nazartu laka ma fi batni muharrara. Remember when the wife of Imran said, My Lord, I have dedicated what is in my womb entirely to your service. فَتَقَبَّلْ minni, so accept it from me. إِنَّكَ أَنْتَ السَّمِيعُ الْعَلِيمُ, you are all-knowing, all-hearing. So Maryam's mother, Hannah, promised to Allah to dedicate her child to the service of temple, who was yet to be born, so that he can study, he can learn the holy book, and he can acquire knowledge, and he ultimately become a priest and will be free from all other responsibilities. The Quran says, فَلَمَّا وَدَعَتْهَا, when she gave birth, she said, قالت, رَبِّ إِنِّي وَدَعْتُهَا أُنْسَى, my Lord, I have given birth to a girl. To which God responded, Wallahu alam bima wadat, I already know to whom you have given birth to. Hannah was expecting to give birth to a child, to a male child, to a boy, as she wanted him to become a priest. But she was disappointed, a bit apologetic, when she saw that a girl was born. In those days, only men were given the responsibility of becoming a priest. So, but God said, Allah already knows whom you have given birth to. There is no need of disappointment. Allah has another plan for her, much bigger plan. And the girl child whom you have given birth would become a legend, a legendary figure. People would look up to her. They will draw inspirations from her and they will emulate her life. She will be a great source of inspiration for all time. Sometimes we have other expectations. We have other ambitions. But God has planned something else for you. So you should be contented at what God has given you. So this is how Maryam was born, and when she grew up, she was sent to the temple, and Zakaria alayhi salam uh, was her guardian. Prophet Zakaria was her teacher. Having a prophet as your teacher is such a great blessing. And he was the head priest of the temple as well. The Quran says, وَكَفَّلَهَا Zakaria, and she was entrusted in the care of Zakaria. So she started living in the temple under the care of her uncle, Prophet Zakaria alayhi salam. The temple mount was built by Sulaiman alayhi salam, Solomon, and it doesn't exist now. It was destroyed long back. But the compound of the Al-Aqsa Mosque, which is quite a big compound, like 35 acres, you have Al-Aqsa Mosque there and Qubbatu Sakhra and some gardens and some other little monuments. So that compound is now called Al-Haram Sharif, the Noble Sanctuary. So this is the compound which was the site of the original Temple Mount in which Maryam was given as a to acquire knowledge. So the Quran says, كلما دخل عليها زكريا المحراب وجد عندها رزقا. Whenever, every time Zakaria visited her in her chamber, he found some provision, some rizq, and he would ask Maryam, قال يا مريم أنى لك هذا. O Maryam, O Mary, where did you get it from? Where do you get this provision from? And she would say, قالت هو من عند الله إن الله يرزق من يشاء بغير حساب. This is from God, she replied. God provides whomsoever without measure. Most of the people think that Maryam was receiving off-season fruits, like summer fruits in winter and winter fruits in summer. This is a very literal interpretation. Wherever the word rizq is used in the Quran, most of the time it means spiritual provision, spiritual food, not physical food. So whenever Zakaria alayhi salam met Maryam and spoke with her, she would talk about deep spiritual matters. So Zakaria alayhi salam was amazed by her high level of spiritual knowledge, and he asked, where do you get this spiritual nourishment from? She would reply, this is from God. Seeing that God has provided her such deep spiritual wisdom and spiritual knowledge, Zakaria alayhi salam was immediately inspired. So he turned to God in prayer. And the Quran says, إِذْ نَادَى رَبَّهُ نِدَاءً خَفِيًّا. When he called upon his Lord in low voice. This is very important verse. He called upon his Lord in low voice. Low voice means gentle and humble prayer in hushed tone, a, a soft prayer, a prayer that comes from the heart. So he said, قال ربي إني وهن العزم مني واشتعل الرأس شيبا. My Lord, my bones have weakened and my head has turned white due to old age. Then he says, وَلَمْ أَكُمْ بِدُعَائِكَ رَبِّ شَقِيًّا. Lord, I have never been disappointed in my prayer to you. This is a very amazing way of making dua. I was never been disappointed praying to you. You have never turned down my prayer, my requests. You have never sent me empty handed. तूने मुझे कभी खाली हाथ नहीं भेजा जब भी मैंने तुझसे दुआ की. You have always heard my prayer. You have always responded to me. So look, he is so hopeful. Uh, he is so hopeful that God will surely accept his prayer. So one should be hopeful when he prays to Allah. One should be optimistic that his prayer will definitely be answered by God. And secondly, which is also very important, uh, that Zakaria alayhi salam is telling his problems to Allah, his difficulties to Allah. Do you think God doesn't know about us? He knows everything. But when you make dua like this, you tell your problems to Allah, then your prayers are filled with spirit, यानी कैफियत बेदार हो जाती है, and then the chances of acceptance of such dua becomes very high. And he says, وَإِنِّي خِفْتُ الْمَوَالِيَ مِنْ وَرَائِي وَكَانَتِ امْرَأَتِي آخِرَةً. Now I fear my kinsmen. When I am gone, I have no hope of their continuing my dawa mission. And my wife has passed the childbearing age. فَهَبْ لِي مِن لَدُنْكَ وَلِيًّا. So grant me a successor from yourself. يَرِثُنِي وَيَرِثُ مِنْ آلِ يَعْقُوبَ. To be my heir, and to be the heir of the blessings of house of Yaqub. وَاجْعَلْ لَهُ رَبِّي رَضِيًّا. And O my Lord, make him acceptable to you. So Prophet Zakaria alayhi salam is not asking for a son, but he is worried that he has become old now and he'll be gone. He'll be gone. So who will continue his dawa mission? So his concern is that dawa mission, dawa which he has been doing, should be continued after he is gone, after he is no more. So actually he is praying for a prophet. He is not praying for a son. And Allah responded immediately, right away. Allah said, Ya Zakaria, O Zakaria, inna nubashiruka bi ghulam. Ya Zakaria, inna nubashiruka bi ghulamin ismuhu Yahya. O Zakaria, we bring you good news of a son whose name shall be John, Yahya. وَلَمْ نَجْعَلْ لَهُ مِنْ قَبْلُ سَمِيًّا. We have not given such a name to anyone before. This means that not only name, but his qualities were so great that no one ever had that qualities. لَمْ نَجْعَلْ لَهُ مِنْ قَبْلُ سَمِيًّا. So the story of Zakaria alayhi salam and Yahya alayhi salam, John, is actually like an introduction, a preface to the story of Jesus. Uh, because as we move forward, inshallah, we will see that the story of John and the story of Jesus are quite similar, and in the sense that God has used similar expression for both the prophets. And the story of Zakaria alayhi salam is very inspiring because it teaches us how to make dua, how to connect with God in humility, in submission. So if we connect with God in this way, our prayers will surely be answered. So now we move to verse number 16, from where the story of Maryam starts. وَاذْكُرْ فِي الْكِتَابِ Maryam. Remember Maryam in the book. This means reflect on the story of Mary as given in Surah Maryam. Remember means this is not a storytelling. This is an item of marifat. This is an item of tadabbur. You should understand the deeper meanings of the story. Think deeply, contemplate on it, draw lessons from it, also share it with others, pass the valuable lessons that you draw from this story to others. And then the Quran says, "Izin tabazat min ahliha makanan sharqiyya." When she separated herself from her people to the eastern side, Maryam was staying in the uh, temple, and she isolated herself to a private chamber on the eastern side of the temple. That might be a more secluded area, and not many people would be visiting there. And so it was like her spiritual corner, a place dedicated for worship and devotion, a very quiet corner where she could whisper to God in silence and solitude. And the Quran says, فَاتَّخَذَتْ مِن دُونِهِمْ hijaba. So she kept herself in seclusion from her people. Uh, she she kept her seclusion means that she might have set up some kind of a screen or a barrier or a curtain to remove all kinds of distractions. So there she would spend most of her time in seclusion, in contemplation, remembrance, and spiritual growth. So it was like her, it was like etikaf for her, where she could spend time with zero distractions. And at this moment, Allah sent angel to her when she was like in itikaf. فَأَرْسَلْنَا إِلَيْهَا ruhana. So we sent, ruhana means our ruh or our spirit, meaning our angel, yeah, our Jibreel. So Jibreel came to Maryam alayhi salam, and Jibreel appeared to Maryam in a human form so that she is not frightened. If Jibreel would have come in his original form, she must have been fainted, because the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ saw Jibreel twice in his original form, and he described him that his foot was on the ground and his head was in the sky, and two of his wings were so large that it covered the entire horizon. So a creature like this, if would have appeared, it it must be very difficult for Maryam. So he came in a human form so that she is not frightened. فَتَمَثَّلَ لَهَا بَشَرًا سَوِيًّا. So he presented to Maryam as a perfect man. The angel presented himself to Maryam as a very attractive, charming, handsome, good-looking, handsome man, good-looking man, so that she is not frightened. This provided some level of confidence, some level of ease and comfort to Maryam. So when she saw, she was panicked and she said, قالت إني أعوذ بالرحمن قالت إني أعوذ بالرحمن منك إن كنت تقيا. I seek refuge in the compassionate God from you if you fear Allah. If you are a God-fearing person, uh, you should go away. When Maryam suddenly saw the stranger standing in front of her, who came without her permission in her private space, she was panicked and she said, I seek refuge of the compassionate God from you. If you fear God, do not come near me. go away, go back. But despite her fear, Angel's noble and presentable appearance allowed her to speak to him and listen to what he said. And the angel said, قَالَ إِنَّمَا أَنَا رَسُولُ رَبِّكِ. The angel said, I am only the messenger of your Lord. لِأَهَبَ لَكِ غُلَامًا زَكِيًّا. And I shall bestow upon you the gift of a pure son. So the angel said to Maryam that I have come to give you a good news of a pure son, a remarkable human being who will be endowed with purity. قالت أَنَّى يَكُونُ لِي غُلَامٌ. How can I have son? She said, how can I have a son? وَلَمْ يَمْسَسْنِي بَشَرٌ. When no man has ever touched me. وَلَمْ أَكُ بَغِيًّا. And nor I am unchaste. So hearing the angel's message, Maryam was panicked. She said, I fear Allah. I am a God-fearing person. How is it possible that I will have a son? I am unmarried. So Qala, the angel said, Qala kazaliki. The angel replied, so shall it be. It will be done. Qala rabbuki huwa alayya hayyin. Your Lord says, it's easy for me. God just has to say be and it comes into existence. So God brought Adam into being without parents. He will bring Jesus into being in a miraculous way as well. And the Quran says, Inna masala Isa indallahi kamasali Adam khalaqahu min turab summa qala lahu kun fayakun. The example of Jesus to Allah is like that of Adam. He created him from dust and he said to him, be, and he was. So this is a very powerful argument. If Allah can create Adam without parents, he can also, why he cannot create Jesus with one parent? So the angel further says to Maryam, وَلِنَجْعَلَهُ آيَةً لِلنَّاسِ. We shall make him, God says that we shall make him a sign, ayah. وَلِنَجْعَلَهُ آيَةً لِلنَّاسِ. We shall make him a sign to people. وَرَحْمَةً مِنَّا. And mercy from us. وَكَانَ أَمْرًا مَقْضِيًّا. This matter has been decided. It is decreed. This is something which has already been decreed, already been decided by Allah. Allah has decreed it and it will surely going to happen. So the angel encouraged Maryam saying that this child is a great sign of God. He will lead people to Allah. He will be a very clear sign and he will be a mercy for people, a reminder, a gift for people. He will guide people to the path that will lead them to eternal paradise and eternal success. And the angel also encouraged Mary saying, Ya Maryamu, Ya Maryam uqnuti li rabbiki. O Mary, remain truly devout and dedicated to your Lord. Wasjudi, Ya Maryam, Ya Maryam uqnuti li rabbiki wasjudi. O Maryam, remain truly devout and truly dedicated to your Lord. Wasjudi, and prostrate yourself in worship. Warkai ma'arrakin, and bow down with those who bow down. So these two postures in namaz are mentioned here, ruku and sajda. And you are closest to God when you are in sajda. When you are closest to Allah when your forehead touches the ground. So the angel is telling Maryam that you should focus on getting closer to Allah through namaz, through worship, through ibadah. Then Quran says, فَحَمَلَتْهُ فَانْتَبَذَتْ بِهِ مَكَانًا قَصِيًّا. So she conceived him. She conceived Jesus and withdrew with him, with Jesus, to a faraway place, مَكَانًا قَصِيًّا. So she moved to a faraway place, to a remote place. She went to Bethlehem, which is also the birthplace of Isa alayhi salam, Jesus. At that time, it was not inhabited, and it was isolated place. So she completely isolated herself. She hid herself from the society. You can imagine how difficult this must have been to leave his house, to leave her house, and to leave her family at such difficult time, a time when she needed a time when she needed her family the most. But she moved to Bethlehem, where she could live away from the eyes of people. In Surah Al-Mu'minun, chapter number 23, it is said that she went to an elevated place, like a small hill, ila rabbatin zati qararin wa ma'in, a place of rest and safety, qarar, where water is available. Ma'in means a place where water is available. So she went to a place which was safe, and she could rest there, and water was also available there. فجاءها المخاض إلى جذع النخلة قالت يا ليتني مت قبل هذا وكنت نسيا منسيا. When the pangs of childbirth drove her to the trunk of a palm tree, she said, "Oh, I wish I had died before all this and became a thing forgotten, completely forgotten, utterly forgotten. I wish I had passed into oblivion." This is an incredible verse. It captures the difficulties. It captures the difficulty and her pain at that moment. So she sought support from the trunk of a palm tree. She sat under the tree to get some support, and we can imagine her difficult circumstances she was passing through, so difficult and so trying that she uttered such extreme words. I wished I had died before all this. I wish I had died, and my very existence would have been wiped out from the minds of people, from the memory of people. How am I going to deal with all that? The gossip, the slander, the defamation, the blemish. How I'm going to deal with all this? I wish God would have taken me up before all this, completely wiped out from the memory of people, completely gone as if I never existed. So these were her feelings, which shows how difficult circumstances she was passing through. And in such difficult and challenging times, Maryam had only one hope, that God's angel should appear and consoles her and encourages her and give some solace and some hope. And exactly that happened. At that very moment, the angel came, but the angel came not in front of her out of modesty. The angel was down that place, down that hill, that Rabwa. You can imagine there is a little hill, there is a palm tree, and Maryam is sitting up here, and the stream is flowing down, and the angel is down here, below the Rabwa, the hillock or the little hill. So Fanadaha, the angel called out from a distance. Fanadaha min tahtiha. Fanadaha min tahtiha. But a voice called out to her from below, Allah tahzini. Don't grieve. Don't be sad. Don't despair. Don't lose hope. قد جعل ربك تحتك سريا. Your Lord has provided a brook, a riverlet, a stream that runs at your feet. So the angel said that whatever is happening, whatever was happening, whatever was going on was in accordance to God's plan. She should drink fresh water, fresh spring water, and eat fresh ripe dates. So Maryam was sitting there on the little hill, and a stream of fresh water was flowing at her feet. The angel was comforting her. Don't be sad, don't grieve. So the angel was comforting her. You are mother of a great prophet. You will be a legend. People will look up to you. You are part of an amazing miracle. So this gave some kind of confidence, solace, and hope to Maryam. And the angel said, وَهُزِّي إِلَيْكِ بِجِزِي النَّخْلَةِ. And if you shake the trunk of the palm tree, تُسَاقِطْ عَلَيْكِ رُطْبًا جَنِيًّا. Fresh, ripe dates shall fall upon you. Ripe dates are called rutab, and dry dates are called tamar. So rutab is mentioned here. Fresh, ripe, tasty dates. So the angel said, you just touch the tree, because everything was miraculous happening there. So you just touch the tree, and fresh, ripe, tasty dates will fall on you. The tree will rain upon you fresh and tasty dates. This shows that Allah always supports the believer in their trials. And the angel said, Fakuli washrabi wa qarri aina. So eat and drink and cool your eyes. This phrase, uh, cool your eyes, has been used in the Quran in a number of places. Like the Pharaoh's wife Asiya, when she found the baby Musa in the river, she said to Pharaoh that let us uh, adopt him, and he will become coolness of our eyes. And to which uh, Pharaoh said, Lucky Walali, he will be coolness of your eyes, not mine. So exactly the same happened. And there is also a beautiful prayer in the Quran. Rabbana hablana min azwajina wa zurriyatina qurrata ayunin waj'alna lil muttaqina imama. Our Lord, give us in our spouses and in our children coolness of eyes, and make us the leader, the Imam of the righteous. So the angel uh, reassures Maryam that she need not worry. The difficulties she faces will soon be gone, and the baby will bring immense joy, immense relief, cooling her eyes. So we learn here that challenging times are often followed by immense blessings from Allah. And the angel told Maryam, فَإِمَّا تَرَيْنَ مِنَ الْبَشْرِ أَحَدًا. And if you see any human being, فَقُولِي إِنِّي نَذَرْتُ لِلرَّحْمَنِ صَوْمًا. So tell him, I have kept a fast of silence for the compassionate God. فَلَنْ أُكَلِّمَ الْيَوْمَ إِنْسِيًّا. I will not speak to any human being today. So the angel said that as far as the child is concerned, he is a miracle of God. He himself is sufficient to defend you. You just take a vow of silence, and if anyone approaches you, you should point to the child who would himself will give a reply and free you from any blame. This will also protect her from the burden of defending herself. So, فَأَتَتْ بِهِ قَوْمَهَا تَحْمِلُهُ. Then she came to her people holding the child, carrying the infant Jesus in her arms. But this time she was confident. She was confident that Allah was watching over her and helping her through the angel. She was confident that God will help her and surely deliver her from this challenging situation. She was holding Prophet of God in his hands. She was holding a living miracle in her hands. So that brought a level of confidence in her. She knew that Allah will surely help her and surely defend her. So people gathered all around her and they said, قالوا يا مريم لقد جئت شيئا فريا. Faria means in Urdu we can say कि तुमने क्या तूफान ढा दिया, तुमने क्या तूफान ढा दिया. Oh Maryam, you have brought something so horrible, something so terrible. So the people gathered all around her and they questioned her about many things. How can you do something so horrible, something so terrible? How could you do that? So they started accusing her, they started arguing with her, but she kept silent, she kept quiet. They addressed her as Ya Ukhta Harun, oh the sister of Aaron, oh the sister of Harun, the Prophet Harun. They meant that you are just like Prophet Harun, you belong to such a noble family, you belong to a family which has a lineage of great prophets. So how can you do this? You belong to such a noble lineage, you belong to family of the prophets. How can you do that? They said, Ma kana abuki imra soin wa ma kanat ummuki baghiya. Your father was not evil man and your mother was not unchaste woman. They reminded Maryam about her noble family, about her noble parents. They were pious, righteous people. They belonged to family of prophets. So they questioned, how could you do something so atrocious, so strange, so bad? So they gathered all around her and started accusing her, questioning her, shouting at her. فَأَشَارَتْ إِلَيْهِ. She pointed towards the baby. She was holding the baby Jesus, the infant Jesus in her hand. She just pointed towards the baby. As per angel's advice, Maryam remained silent and pointed to the child. She indicated that this was no ordinary child. If you want some proof, they should speak to this child directly. Even he is an infant, he is a little child, but he will understand you and respond to you clearly. But they were all surprised and they couldn't understand what does that mean. So they said, قالوا كيف نكلم من كان في المهد سبيا. How can we talk to someone who is a child in the cradle, who is a newborn child? So despite Mary's uh, pointing towards the baby, the people couldn't understand how can we talk to such a small child infant who is in the lap of his mother. And they became angry, they became agitated. So next moment a miracle happened which baffled them all. They were all completely shocked, and it was one of the greatest miracles of Allah. Suddenly the child baby Jesus started speaking on his own. And look what he said. He said, Qala inni Abdullah. I am undoubtedly the servant of God. The first word of Jesus was, I am Abdullah. I am, I am the servant of God. I am the slave of God. I am not son of God. I am not Ibnullah. I am Abdullah. I am the servant of God. I am the slave of God. Yes, my birth was miraculous, but still I am the servant of God. I am accountable to Him. I am a human being. I am not divine. I am not a deity. Don't worship me. Worship the Creator who created all of us. And then he said, Atani al kitaba wa ja'alani nabiya. He has given me the book and made me the prophet. The book refers here to Injil. Injil was revealed to Jesus. Injil, in Bible, it is called gospel or good news. And it is now part of the New Testament. So Injil or gospel contains mostly spiritual message, motivational content and inspirational content. And he said, وَجَعَلَنِي نَبِيًّا. The infant Jesus said, He made me a prophet. I am a messenger of Allah. I belong to the long chain of the prophet starting from Prophet Adam alayhi salam. وَجَعَلَنِي مُبَارَكًا أَيْنَمَا كُنْتُ. He said, God has made me blessed wherever I may be. I will be a source of divine knowledge. Those who follow my teachings will receive blessings from God. All the prophets brought the same teachings that helped people to come closer to God. My teachings will uplift people's spirituality. My teachings will provide peace and comfort to people, and my teachings will help them enter paradise. So, in this way, Jesus was a blessed person. وَأَوْصَانِي بِالصَّلَاةِ وَالزَّكَاةِ مَا دُمْتُ حَيًّا. He has enjoined me prayer and almsgiving throughout my life. So my Lord has commanded me to perform salah, to perform namaz and pay zakat, charity. This shows that zakat and namaz and zakat were part of all the previous prophets. So prayer is one of the best ways to connect to the Almighty, to strengthen your connection with Allah, to get nearness with the Creator. And the Quran says, Wasjud waqtarib. Do sajda and come closer. And the first question that will be asked on the Day of Judgment will be about namaz, about salah. And what is more important, that namaz or salah should be filled with the spirit, khushu, not just ritualistic. Allazina hum fi salatihim khashi'un. The Quran says those who are in their prayer with khushu. And zakat is also equally important pillar of Islam. And then Jesus says, وَبَرًّا بِوَالِدَتِي وَلَمْ يَجْعَلْنِي جَبَّارًا شَقِيًّا. He has made me dutiful towards my mother. He has not made me arrogant or wicked. And this is also a very beautiful verse. It shows that how soft-hearted, how kind-hearted and gentle Jesus must have been. And in the Bible he has said, if someone takes your shirt, you give him your coat as well. And then he says, وَالسَّلَامُ عَلَيَّ يَوْمَ وُلِدْتُ وَيَوْمَ أَمُوتُ وَيَوْمَ أُبْعَثُ حَيًّا. Blessed was I on the day I was born, and blessed I shall be on the day I will die, and on the day I am raised to life again. So my birth was blessed by Allah. I was a miracle of Allah. My birth was a blessing of Allah, and my death will be honorable death. My death will not be a difficult death. My death will be honorable death. And if in life to come, in the hereafter, I'll be united with the righteous, with the prophets, with the truthful, with the martyrs. So these were the words of Jesus which he spoke in the cradle, uh, uh, though it's very short, but so meaningful, so meaningful. It's like in Hindi we say gagar mein sagar, an ocean in a pot. So then it says Zalika Isa ibn Maryam قول الحق الذي فيه يمترون. Such was Jesus, the son of Mary. That is the whole truth about which they still dispute, they still argue about. So Allah has told the true story of Jesus, the true story of Isa alayhi salam. This is the true story of Jesus and son of Mary. ما كان لله أن يتخذ من ولد سبحانه. It doesn't befit the majesty of God that he should beget a son. Glory be to him. He is far above that. It's a very powerful verse. It is completely unbefitting to Allah to have a son. It is utterly inappropriate for Allah to take a son. Subhana. Subhana is a exclamatory word. Subhana. Uh, how absolutely perfect is Allah. How flawless. And Allah is the creator of heaven and earth. How can he take a son? So the idea of sonship of Jesus is very emphatically refuted here and denied. It is complete denial and complete refutation that God could take a son. إِذَا قَضَى أَمْرًا فَإِنَّمَا يَقُولُ لَهُ كُنْ فَيَكُونُ. When he decrees anything, he only say it be, and it is. This is also a very powerful verse. He is God, he is the creator, he is not human. He has no limitation. Whenever he wants to create anything, he simply says be, and it is done. He created every human being in the same way. And when we think in this way, uh, I think there is no difference. Everything seems to be a miracle. If Jesus is a miracle, every human being is a miracle as well. No difference. Even the tiny particle of sand to the mighty galaxies, everything is a miracle. Sun, moon, planet, everything is a miracle. If you think in this way, you will realize that the birth of Jesus was a similar miracle, no difference. وَإِنَّ اللَّهَ رَبِّي وَرَبُّكُمْ فَاعْبُدُوهُ هَذَا صِرَاطٌ مُسْتَقِيمٌ. Allah is my Lord and your Lord, so worship Him alone. This is the straight path. This is also very nice, amazing verse. In very short ayah, it summarizes uh, the essence of Iman, it's Islam in a nutshell. Allah is my Lord and Allah is your Lord. He created all of us. He will judge us on the day of judgment and decide our eternal future. Allah is taking care of us in this world and He will continue to take care of us in the hereafter. This is Lord, so worship Him. This is the right path. So this is very important and beautifully summarizes the essence of faith, the essence of Deen in one single verse. So this ends the story of Maryam, such an incredible story. And Maryam was one of the most remarkable women who walked on this planet. Her story is a great source of inspiration for all of us. And Maryam was a real role model for us. The story has so many takeaways that we can apply in our lives, and I pray to Allah that He allows us to understand the deeper meaning of the story of Maryam May Allah enable us to apply these messages which we have learned and grow our spirituality, our iman, our faith. And we pray to Allah to bless her and to reunite us with her in Jannatul Firdaus al-Ala. Wa sallallahu ta'ala ala khair khalqihi Muhammadin wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in bi rahmatika ya arhamar rahimin.